Hey residents of Meepletown, today we are looking at Hocus Pocus. Somebody has lit the black candle and brought the Sanderson sisters back, and they are trying to get the children, but it is our job to stop them. So let's get to the table and check out and see if this game is good or if it's just a bunch of Hocus Pocus. Alright, here is the setup for Hocus Pocus, and I'm just going to be kind of explaining how the gameplay plays, but I'm not going to really be playing through the entire game. Each player is going to have some cards in their hand. I'm just going to set this up for a two-player game, and in a two-player game, each player is going to have 4 cards in their hand. And the object of the game is you're going to try to stun the Sanderson sisters 3 times. Again, you don't have to stun all of them. You just have to stun one of them 3 times, if that makes sense. So I can stun all of them, but I can also just stun Sarah twice and Winifred once or something like that. So every time you stun them, you're going to move up 1. All right, now on your turn, you're first going to be finding out some information, then you're going to be playing a card, then you're going to be drawing a card, and that's it. So finding out the information, how do you do that? Well, you are going to be asking one question about the ingredients or the colors. So I might ask, does anyone have any green? Because what I'm trying to do in order to stun them, to stun Sarah, I have to get all the ingredients of the same color. So all these cards that you can see face up in the cauldron need to be the same color. To stun Mary, I need to get all the ingredients to match. So like if I had all of the oil of boil out on there, regardless of the color, then I would stun Mary. To stun Winifred, it's the most difficult because she is the toughest of the 3. You have to get all the ingredients to match, and all 5 colors are visible. So I need to get, again, all of like the thine own tongue, but they all have to be different colors that are showing up there. And I would stun her. Every time you stun one, you're going to put it up here. You're going to put the stun token on the sister that you have stunned, indicating that if they go to cast a spell, it's not going to affect you if it's coming from that particular sister. Again, I'll explain that. So first thing I would do is I would say, hey, who has green? Now, when you're answering the question, you can't answer anything beyond yes or no, right? So if you have it, you just say yes, but you can't say how many or anything like that. So I might say, who has green, for example. And the other players would look at their hands. This player does not have any, so they would not say yes. Then, again, I'm going to play a card, and I recognize, okay, they don't have green, so I don't want to go with that strategy. I'm going to put something out there. Let's see. I'm going to put this thine own tongue here on the yellow spot. So now I'm kind of indicating that I'm trying to get these ingredients to match, right? Maybe we're trying to get all of thine own tongue out there. After my turn, I'm going to draw a card, and that will be my turn. Then player 2, look at their cards, and they think, wow, okay. First, they're looking at that and thinking, well, I don't have any thine own tongue in my hand, so I can't really go for that. So I need to maybe start asking for something else. Now, they put a yellow out there. Maybe they've got some other yellows. Maybe we could go for something that we have that's better than that. So I'm going to say, who has newt saliva as an ingredient? So player 1's going to look over here and they'll say yes. Again, that's all they can say is yes. So I think, okay, well, maybe we can start going for that direction instead. So what they're going to do is they're going to play newt saliva down here again to match that color. And then they'll draw back up. Now, one thing happens is some of these cards will have a symbol on there. In this instance, we've got the Binks symbol on there, which is this cool little piece here, this little Binks meeple. And so that means if I play that, I'm going to take this meeple and I'm going to put it right in front of me. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to be playing with my cards face up in front of me so other players will be able to see what I have. And so obviously that's a very good thing, right? Binks is a good thing in this game. And he'll get passed around depending if somebody else plays the Bink symbol. He'll go in front of them and they'll play with their cards face up. Also, at the end of the round, he'll go away. And so you have to be aware of that. Back over to player 1. Player 1 thinks, and I'll just show a little bit more of this. They think, okay, well, I have a Newt Saliva, but I only have the green one, and I can play that here, but it's the exact same card, and it has a spell on it, so I'm not going to do that. So let's go a different direction. I'm going to ask who has, we'll say Dead Man's Toe. All right. Well, in this case, we know what they have, so I wouldn't really need to ask that necessarily. But I will actually probably go a different direction. So we're going to look at going the orange direction. We've got one orange out there. I've got an orange. They have an orange, and they're different. So we'd have 3 oranges that are out there. So I'm just going to say orange. They have an orange. I'm going to take this card, this Thine Own Tongue orange card, and then I'm going to play it. Now we've got an issue, though. We put a card down that has the spell symbol on there, and that's going to be bad for us, especially because we don't have any of these sisters stunned. So we're going to take a spell card, and we're just going to flip it over and do what it says. Now, at the top, it's going to say who is casting that. So in this case, it's Sarah Sanderson. If she was stunned, we would not have to do this. It says, I'll take thee away into land of enchantment. So there's a lot of the flavor text from the movie on these cards, but it says players cannot ask for information until another spell is cast, which would be very bad for a larger player count. In this case, in a 2-player game, especially if we have Binks out there, not the end of the world. So that one didn't really hurt us that much. But again, it's very situational depending on how many players you have. So that is that player's turn. They drew another green card, which was not good. That's not what they needed. They needed some orange cards. So back over to player 2, and they would say who has... they kind of want to keep this going to see if this is the right direction. So who has an orange card? And player 1's going to say, no, I don't have any orange cards. So they say, oh, well, I'm still going to play this, and maybe we can make it work in the future, kind of delay things here until we get some orange cards that would match up, or maybe change these. And that's it. You're just going to keep going until you stun them 3 times. Now, I will say, you also have these tokens that help you out. You've got the Circle of Salt, for example, that allows you to discard a spell and draw another spell. So if this was really bad timing for the spell that came out, we might want to discard that, and these are one-time use. You'll just flip those over, and you won't have access to that anymore. This one lets you swap an ingredient with the player, which can be helpful, especially in a case where you really need that one last ingredient, and you have an idea that someone else has it, or they have it because of Binks. That would be helpful. Billy Butcherson says that you don't play any ingredients. So I mentioned that you play an ingredient. You always have to play an ingredient if you can. But in this case, you can flip that over if you don't want to. If it's really going to hurt your team, then you don't want to do that. And then the last one is the Burning Rain of Death, which is discard 3 ingredients and draw 3 ingredients. So in this case, again, going back to what I have, I've got 4 green cards. I might want to do that, but the problem is I didn't mention how you lose the game. So you're going to lose the game when you get through this deck, or when you run out of cards. So you get through the deck and you have cards in your hand. You can still play those, but this is kind of your timer for the game. So this is good, but at the same time, it's not great because you don't want to burn through those cards. Now, at the end of the round, once you've completed stunning one of them, you're going to, again, move that up. You'll put the token on the one that you stunned. And then you're going to discard these cards, except the ones that have the symbols. You're going to shuffle those back into the deck, and then you're going to restart from there. So that is the gist of how the game plays out. Now, let's talk about the art and components really briefly. I'll start off by talking about the box real fast. So the box is really cool. I like this. It looks like the book from Hocus Pocus. It just flips open like that. It's got the little magnet on there to hold it closed. I think that's really cool. The rest of the components are mostly just cards. You've got this round board, everything is high gloss in this. I'll go ahead and say that. Everything is real high gloss. So the board is really high gloss. These tokens, and they're all good quality. Almost feel plastic because they're so glossy. But everything is pretty well done here. But the only issue I might have is with the cards. I don't think the cards are too thin necessarily. However, because they're so high gloss, you can't really shuffle them like this as easily and get them shuffled. So this is going to make some people really sad, but you got to shuffle them like this. But because they're high gloss and kind of have, again, like a plasticky feel, I still think that they're going to last for a long time, even if you do have to shuffle them like that. But overall, I think the art and components are good. I think the art direction they went with this is really good. I like this. This artistic style that you still recognize some things that happen in the movie from the pictures, but they're illustrated as opposed to just showing the clips from the movie, and I enjoy that, and I think the art is really well done. Now, let's talk about the gameplay. So the gameplay is pretty simple, and I would expect that from an IP game like Hocus Pocus that's geared towards families. But in the game, again, you're just going to try to find out some information. You're going to be playing a card and then drawing a card back up. Now, the thing I like about the gameplay, and really I guess this has to go with the teach of the game, but I like that this game has, it's going to sound bad if you're really like into hardcore strategy games, but it has this Uno element when you play the card, and that's really easy to teach, especially people who aren't familiar with a lot of of the modern day strategy board games. But to be able to say, look, all you have to do is you're going to play a card and you're going to play that to either match the color or to match the symbol, the ingredient that's already face up on the board from one of the piles. And it becomes really easy to teach that way because it clicks, right? If you've played Uno, you recognize, okay, I know how to do this. And I really enjoy that about this game, and because it can be, if you don't know a lot of rules for modern board games, it can be kind of confusing to remember all these three different ways of stunning the Sanderson sisters. So again, you're going to get you're going to get all the ingredients that are the same color, or they're going to be ones that are all where the ingredients match, or kind of a combination between those where you have different colors and the ingredients match. So that can be kind of confusing to keep up with, as well as, like the fact that you don't have to stun all the sisters throughout the game. You just have to stun them 3 times. You can stun the same one multiple times. For some reason, that can be a sticking point. And I've seen, playing this at a full player count, maybe it's my family gets a little noisy, but regardless, those can be confusing things. And so to have a mechanism that is familiar to teach is really, really helpful. I like the gameplay of this. I like that it's cooperative. I think that makes it fun. It makes it fun that you're working together to defeat the Sanderson sisters. I like that it has, again, that familiar Uno mechanism, but it also has a little bit of a feel of like a Hanabi type game. I know it's not exactly like that at all, but where you're trying to get these things to line up to work together, but you don't have all the information that you need, and I think that's really interesting. And when you do stone one of the sisters, there's always this big celebration because you actually feel like you've accomplished something. Now, sometimes all the stars align and everything just kind of happens. You get all the same color, and that's great. More often than not, that's not going to happen. For example, the last game that I played, we were playing the full player count, 6 players, and we had the first time we stunned pretty easily. Now, the second one was really difficult. We just kept changing our strategies because the cards that we have, based on the information that we were given, didn't seem to match up. And so finally we were able to match those up, and we barely squeaked out a win in this one. But it had that last round, played out more like the second, we definitely wouldn't have won. And I like that, and this game does have that challenge. It's not just a gimme that you're going to win this game. This can be very difficult if you don't get the right information from the other players, or if you don't read the information well enough. That can be a problem too. Also, I've played this with younger kids that seem to pick it up pretty well. The strategy might not be, as fully developed as somebody who's older, but still the gameplay itself is something that they can enjoy. So, on to my final thoughts. This is a movie that we watch every year around Halloween time, and to have a game to kind of match up with that is good is a very good thing. I'm really excited to get to this to the table every year. Now, this is not, again, going back to modern day strategy games, this is not a super heavy game by any stretch, but it's enjoyable, and it's enjoyable for different age counts and people who may or may not be into hobby games but might really like the theme. So for that, I really like it. So I'm going to give this one. This has been one of my favorites in all these Disney IP games that have been coming out. This might be my favorite, maybe tied with another one, but I'm going to give this one a 7.5. But I'm going to give a caveat to that and say that this is a game that I'll play, again, situationally. I'll play it during Halloween. We watch the movie, play the game, and I'm really going to enjoy it because I think it's a lot of fun. I'm not going to play it for the most of the year. But the caveat is, if you don't care for the theme, if you don't care for family weight games, lighter games at all, well, obviously this game's just not going to be for you. But for me, I'm going to enjoy this. I'm going to play this with my family. We'll bring this to larger family get-togethers and have a good time with this every year. So anyway, 7.5 for me for Hocus Pocus. Really well done. I enjoy this one quite a bit. If you'd like to get in touch with us, you can reach us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. That's at Meepletown Games. You can connect with us on our website, meepletowngames.com. We've got all of our content on there, including our podcast and some written reviews and things like that. And also you can connect with us at Board Game Geek. We are guild number 3407. Till next time, thanks for coming down to Meepletown.
Thanks for joining us, and be sure to follow us on Twitter at Meepletown Games, and connect with us on the Meepletown Guild, guild number 3407, at BoardGameGeek.com, and also subscribe to our podcast and YouTube channel. And until next time, thanks for coming down to Meepletown.